Welcome back to Rocket League DreamHack Championship. The match we've all been waiting for here, Rogue versus Defused. It was nice of them to leave the American match until America was awake. I believe America's awake by now, and they can watch their sweethearts play. But one of, I believe, 2 North American rosters here. One, the only in the top 8 that has come all the way out here to Sweden. So we'll get to see Rogue finally. Been waiting for this one all day.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of a tough trek on the way. Sizz lost his luggage. Matt got in late last night, so jet lag.
Turtle was so sick.
sick.
He had a
Still
double
sick.
ear infection.
He's not feeling well, to
No.
say the least. But the reason I'm excited is we've got 2 teams that are pretty well known, full of rosters that are stacked. So we should have some really good games.
Yep, gonna be exciting to see Turtle, Matt, and Sizz going up against Pashy, Scrubkilla,
Niels.
Niels Skook. Almost had it there. It's been a long day. Lots of players coming
It
through
has.
there. Got them all, though, in the end. How you guys feeling about this matchup?
I'm excited about it, certainly. I mean, Defused kids just looked phenomenal earlier on in their series. A couple of things that we are a little bit worried about, but at the same time, we need to see if they are exploited first. Rogue definitely were one of the top performing teams at the LAN. They are a team that definitely feeds off crowd energy. I don't think they're going to get that love over here, though.
No USA
so
chance, maybe?
I mean, a European crowd will probably do it for the irony of it, but
Yeah, I can see that.
maybe.
Maybe.
It's going to be tough, though, because
But we don't even have like proper walkouts here. You know,
Yeah,
the players
there's
just
no
show up on stage and then the game
introductions. They're there.
starts. So
Yeah.
there's no crowd energy to feed off of immediately that we get to see on stream. And also having to deal with the jet lag as we talked about. And I would wonder how many of these players have actually really played against Scrubkilla in a LAN setting. Most of the Europeans have had to deal with him online, which is close enough, but the Americans don't have to deal with him nearly as often.
The only time I could think of was Season 1 LAN when Scrub hopped in the caster booth.
Sure, and just
was
1v1 some
playing other people, and they were playing in games like that, but I don't think it was like, oh, this is Scrubkilla that I'm playing. You know, there was a couple 1v1s, but that's about it.
It's
not
completely
threes.
different than playing
Yeah.
in a competitive 3 setting.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And he's carried when he needed to. At Insomnia 60, they lost twice, himself and Jesse and Mout lost twice to Team Infused, who are here, the Doomsy Bluey and Sebadam lineup. But then when it mattered on stage, they won 4-2. Or was it 4-1 on stage, actually?
It's pretty heavy.
They went into that best of 7 with the 1-game deficit because they came from the losers.
Sure.
And they took it 4-2. So they really did well, and Scrub carried that series. He didn't need to do that earlier in their matchup that we saw on stream because they were just so much better mechanically than XL. But in this matchup, they're not going to have that same advantage. Speed is going to be one of the positions that I feel like they might struggle in because Rogue are extremely fast into the air. And if they don't get jet lagged, if they're not getting plagued by their sicknesses, and if Sizz, can get over the fact that he's not wearing his freshest clothes because they're
Well, maybe they're
off
more
somewhere
fresh.
in a
Maybe he had to go
different-
buy some new ones.
Maybe.
You know?
Or maybe he's been
got some
getting
brand
hooked
new
up with
kicks.
merch from DreamHack.
Yeah,
I know there's a
he
lot
literally
of...
just walks out on stage completely covered head to toe in the DreamHack
Yeah.
logo. I
We'll
keep
see.
waiting for that person. 'cause
I
know
think he might have a Matt shirt on, actually. Matt brought 2.
Oh, there we go.
He might have a Matt Rogue shirt.
that sounds probably a little bit more plausible, but I'll still hope for the DreamHack mannequin. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we have yet to have a real bona fide upset in day number 1, and I don't know if you could really call either of these teams winning an upset, but
No.
with the circumstances that we have outlined here, Rogue in not their home territory, a team that feeds off of energy, that is struggling with some IRL issues, going up against Defused, who was looking great earlier, I do feel like Rogue is kind of the underdog in this match right now.
It's difficult because, I mean, obviously it's not home territory, and that's the big difference. The team itself, though, like, they are a solidified team. They play together constantly all the time, and that's their big advantage, is they are a true team. This is just a bunch of pickup guys for Defused that just mix and match, and it works out because they're all really good. So
Sure.
I do think Rogue has an advantage, but when we talked to Pash earlier, and we did mention they did scrim a little bit, they weren't playing on the best computers, but every game was pretty much every other. Like, they were trading off games in their scrim, so it should be a close match either way, but I don't think you can really, like you said, I don't think you can count either as an underdog. They're both solid teams. Like, anybody could take it.
Yeah, honestly, a win either way would be pretty interesting indeed. Like you said, Scrubkilla is not available for next season of the IRLCS, but Pashy and Niels Cook, that is a possibility that I think could really go ahead, and I think this might be the tournament, like we were talking earlier with Mystic and Flipside. Just, yeah, does this work? We'll test it out a little bit here, see if we like it, and see if we want to continue on with it. Honestly, I think Pashy and Niels Cook would complement each other pretty well. Just who they go for the third on that, I don't know, really.
Yeah, no. Well, think about that one. So he can't take Scrub Killa, and right now he's definitely going to be scouting out the competition. As far as free agents, we know are currently they're playing on teams here, but they're not currently signed. We have Turbo Pulsa and Mystic that come to mind immediately. Thoughts about those two players, or maybe some other third player we're not talking about right now that might fill out Pashy's roster for Season 4?
Possibly Chaussette. We saw the attempt with Pashy, Chaussette, and Panda for Season 3. Didn't work, but you know, Panda's now decided to part ways with Pashy. Chaussette's still on the table. Fairy Peak also maybe without a team after K-Dop has joined up with Violent Panda. So there's definitely a lot of free agents in Europe who are looking pretty strong.
Did Chaussette and Fairy Peak play on the same team before?
I don't think so.
They never played on a team together?
No, Chaussette did play on a full French lineup, but it was with, who was it? Tequilas.
Yeah,
no,
Fairy Peak's had...
Yeah.
Peak's had a couple of teams, but he had, who were they? He stuck with like one team between Season 2 and Season 3
He played with Farah
for a
back
long
in the
time.
day.
Yes, and then they didn't qualify for Season 2, and then they split up after that, at which point we got to the Mocket squad that we had for Season 3. So Fairy isn't really that well traveled. He's had a lot of teams. If you check out his wiki page, there is a list of them, but there's also like 2 weeks on a large majority of them.
We're into the first game. We all agree that this really could go either way. It's so many circumstances coming into play here. But I feel like if both these teams play at their best, I think Rogue would edge it. But will they play at their best, or will Scrub Killa be able to bring out the performance that he was able to bring out at Insomnia 60? Great start though from Matt. First goal for the series. This could be huge for Rogue.
Yeah, and here's the thing, we cannot look to either of these teams and say, okay, they might not have enough LAN experience. Scrub Killa, 100% a LAN. That being said, he has only played in 1 at Insomnia. Pashy, second place at the previous season in Season 2. Did not make LAN this season though. Every single player here has got extensive time in front of crowds, in front of a LAN environment. Almost managed to turn that one straight in for the response goal. But Defusekids will continue to try and go on the search, and they will find it. You found Wally, my friends, and there is a goal for you.
And the first goal really should have happened. Niels was just late on the arrival, which shows that they are adapting their strategy from what they showed us against XL, where they were all sitting so close to each other, making sure that they would win every race after a dead ball 50-50. But they seem to be spreading out a little bit more to adapt to Rogue. They're worried about those Rogue hard clears and passing plays on the counter-attack, which so they should be. Rogue are definitely a dangerous team in that regard.
Yeah, Rogue had one series, I believe it was their first series of the entirety of the LAN, where they just passed and took the leftovers apart for an entire 3-game series. I believe they took that one in a sweep.
Oh, this should be a goal.
Well, I can't quite remember, and that's going to be immediately turned straight in. Scrub Killa will be credited with the goal. Fast pace to start us off here.
Yeah, one double commit from the second and last man back for Rogue is all it's going to take. This is bad news for them because Defusekids are looking a lot more organized than they did earlier. I was a bit worried if they bring in the same strategy that they did against Excel, where they're kind of doubling up on offense and double dribbling the ball together. I felt like they would struggle here because that's not an organized play style that I've ever seen work at the highest level. But they're looking much better in the first minute here. I think if they can continue that, they will definitely be the favorites. But oh my word!
That was a true doink right there, but Sizz will not get the goal. And that is going to be pushed straight across to the other side. Rogue are struggling as they had to try and go from East Coast to West Coast for the goal. But Defusekids, they are doing a very good job of spreading themselves out across the rotation. And communication, I believe Pashy will be taking the main role on that, is working out very well. No double commits.
One thing you can always credit teams that involve Pashy is comebacks. They've made so many good comebacks in the past to have teams that involve Pashy. And that goes all the way back to the Crown and Jewels days, one of the best comebacks of all time, scoring 2 goals in 6 seconds against Flipside, including a last-second goal to equalize the game. And onwards to RLCS Season 2 with Mocket, reverse sweeping Orbit with multiple comebacks, I think 2 in that series alone, where they were able to tie the game on 0 seconds. So you can never count these guys out. Pashy, a great leader, great believer in himself and his team to make comebacks happen. Right now that won't be necessary as they are in the lead. But with Rogue threatening fairly regularly as this series and this game goes on, I would not be surprised if we see more goals from them.
Yeah, but it seems like a huge amount of speed is coming out from Defusekids, and it is something that Rogue is not able to respond to. That third man Turtle gets beat, and Matt has to just hope him and Sizz come together, and Scrub Killa can easily mop that one up. It is looking like a 2-goal lead now for Defusekids, and they don't look like they're going to be dropping it anytime soon.
Yeah, that was very messy coming back into defense from Rogue. Everybody just arriving in the exact same location at the same time. Nobody sweeping right into the back post. Something that we sometimes see from Flipside, and that was probably their biggest problem in RLCS Season 3. Now starting to come into play for Rogue, which is unusual. I've never seen this be a regular problem for them, but you never know just how badly these real-life situations are affecting them. It's certainly not easy flying from the West Coast all the way to Europe. Crossbar saves that shot from Matt, who is the striker for this team, top goal scorer for Rogue in the majority of tournaments. Definitely a great hitter of the ball.
Defusekids still find themselves up, but almost yet again. The crossbar coming out to save them. I believe it might be the best defender on their entire team, which would be fairly impressive considering the roster. I know. Scrub Killer, especially during his time, I believe it was with Desga de Heldo.
Oh yeah.
Was playing a
gold
certain goalkeeper position only. But Matt,
the slow roll, he just stopped this midair and let it fall into the goal. Both Pashi and Scrub Killer made to look like fools because Matt has just loved this top corner right behind them. 120 on the clock. Definitely a chance for Rogue, and we do see smiles on Siz's face. These guys so reliant on being motivated, believing in themselves, believing in each other. But do they have it in them to take down this stacked, talented squad of Defusekids? A lot of crossbars coming into play this game. This time for Defused.
I believe we can certainly get away with calling Rogue probably the loudest team in history, mostly because of Sizz.
Maybe.
It's
There's
pretty
also
much all him.
Take 3 at Season 2 were pretty loud.
They certainly were, actually.
Zane Jackie was something else.
But they are still 1 goal away from tying us back
Sizz.
up here. 40 seconds left in the matchup.
I love what Sizz did there, just using the ceiling to pop that ball past the defender who was right behind him on arrival time. But they need to do more of that. Cleanly beating Defusekids to the ball is the best way to beat them from what we saw earlier. You can often take multiple players out of the game if you can just get a clean hit hard over the top of them, but they don't have much time to do it, and I feel like it's last chance time now for Rogue. Will they be able to find an opportunity?
Yep, Turtle's going to try and push that forward. It's going to go straight over the top. Huge mistakes coming out from Defusekids. Once again, they get in their own way.
But look at
And
Sizz.
it's going to be tied straight up. Oh, actually, Sizz
Look
in the
at
background.
Sizz.
That is huge.
Just running interference, bumping Scrub Killer into a position where he had no momentum left and he could not both fly up and forward at the same time. Tie game. Incredible stuff. Rogue find the goal that they desperately need, and now they're not done yet. They want to win this in regulation time.
Defusekids have let go of a 2-goal lead that they had earlier on, and we are in overtime, the first game of this best of 3. And we're going to see who can take it. Defusekids had such a great start to this matchup, but some clever gameplay coming out from Sizz has resulted in this overtime. And it's now going to be a case of who can hold their nerve that little bit better, who will be the first player to make that first critical mistake. As Pashi just trying to tempt a player out. And Scrub's going to try and move himself forward straight over into that corner area. Scrub Killer actually has got the opportunity, but too much power. Niels could not reach it in time. But they can continue to keep this in the blue end.
Roger
Finally, straight towards the middle, and that is going to be it,
hurting.
Scrub Killer. And yep, it's those cutting passes straight into the middle. No response from Rogue. 1-0 to Defusekids.
Have no boost left as Rogue's boost in the back corner on one side gets stolen away. Every small boost in front of their net gets taken, and the boost on the other corner as well. All 3 of them stripped off that means to gain speed. Scrub Killer looks on in horror of his own ability to make ugly faces at the camera. But this is worrying for Rogue. I feel like that comeback would have given them a good chance if they were able to cement it with an overtime goal. But do they have what it takes to take 2 games in a row? They're up against it now, against a very talented team. We saw less of Nielscock that last game than we did in the series earlier. Scrub Killer was just all over the place, as expected.
And it's a thing that Rogue will certainly need to get used to unless they're taking on teams like Genesis. There's not many teams out there that will prioritize boost stealing across everything else. That's what they got caught by towards the very end of that matchup. There's not many of them over in NA, so it might be something they have got less practice against. But either way, they will need to start looking towards that, control those 2 middle boosts as well if they really want to slow down Pashy and Scrubkiller.
Well, I know Fireburner and Jacob and NRG for the longest time have always been that team in NA who love to just steal every single boost. Just wait for the misplay to come in, wait for the whiff to come in because the opposing team can't reach the ball. But I was talking to XL after their loss to Defusekids earlier, and they said they just had no boost all series long. They could not get any boost in their own half because Defused are moving forward so aggressively. And I feel like Defused have found that sweet spot where they're still denying a ton of boost, but they're not overextending to do it like they were against XL. Even the skilled players of Rogue are not able to punish these boost steals because they're being done quite conservatively.
Certainly Rogue will look to respond to their previous loss. Remember, this is only best of 3 today as these teams try and make their way through to our top 8, which will be broadcast tomorrow, and that's going to be an opportunity, but Matt has the door shut on him, and now he needs to get himself completely back. Taps over to the side because he realizes he had about 10 boosts remaining, and Pashy is also pretty low. Chooses to go for the steal and is going to rotate himself straight back. Scrub actually might be the opportunity. Niels Cook will be around, and that's going to be putting Pashy actually. All right, Niels Cook is definitely getting held back then, because there is no reason why he wouldn't have been rotated in.
Pashy just goes straight from the corner to the midfield. Niels sitting deep, but it doesn't matter. With the pass that serviceable, anyone is going to tap that in. Pashy says thank you very much. Scrubkiller is definitely stepping up. We said this could happen. He's done this before on the stage in Insomnia Birmingham, where he just stepped up and carried his team like we had not seen from him at all up until then in that tournament. And he's certainly showing up right now. Best player in the field so far.
It's going to be Scrubkiller trying to find a dangerous scenario. Pashy almost managed to get there in time, but he is forcing boosts to be stolen. As we can actually see, one Rogue player has just jumped past Niels Cook to try and steal something from the middle. As these balls keep bouncing off that backboard, eventually a save is forced by Turtle, but they've still not got the ball away just yet, and a long looping clearance by Matt. Looking for Turtle as well, but too much on the ball means that it will not be reached, and Defusekids will maintain their lead.
Defusekids just showing us the depth of talent in Europe. This Rogue struggling to find foothold here. Not many chances being created. Backboard thoroughly defended by Scrubkiller. They're going to need to look for another avenue of attack. Counterattacks look like the most promising thing for them, but when you're losing, you can't rely on a counterattack because the other team obviously need to overextend for that to work. Now Niels comes into play. He's been quiet, but he does dribble one player, take a 50-50 at the second opportunity. Defuse looking very in control right now.
Certainly are. They are just controlling all of the field, and it never quite looks like Rogue have either got players in positions or enough boost to really try and go for any sort of their traditional passing plays around the field like they did earlier, and that is going to be a long shot by Pashy. No one back on Rogue, and it's happening more and more. Rogue trying to rotate everyone back at the same time means that they've never got anyone around. A demo earlier on pulled Matt out of the play and also missed the boost, as you just mentioned.
Would he have reached it?
Probably. He just respawned as it went past him.
Scrubkiller and Pashy, that combination has been good this game. Both goals coming from Scrubkiller, passing to Pashy. It's worth mentioning that shot was not at all free. Pashy had to hit that hard and early, and he did both exceptionally well. It's been a while since we've seen Pashy on a big stage, and he's performing a lot better than he did at RLCS Season 1, where his team were quickly dropped out of the tournament with 2 quick losses to Orbit and then to Genesis. Oh my goodness, Turtle this time starved on boost and barely able to keep that out the net.
Yeah, but that demo on Scrubkiller from Matt means that there was no third goal. You would have believed that that would have been the nail in the coffin, as Rogue desperately trying to keep themselves in this series, but struggling so much. And now amount of whiffs that we have seen coming out from them. This time they have managed to deal with it, but every single time there is no follow-up, and it is allowing Defusekids to continuously put pressure on. There's the third, and they are looking very convincing moving on in this game.
Yeah, Pashy was threatening the hat trick. Turtle had to fly in a blocking manner. Niels Cock following up, reads that miss by both players and slams it top shelf. Scrubkiller and the boys. 3-0. Very, very comfortable stuff here. We did see the comeback in Game 1 from Rogue, but it is looking so much less likely. This is not finding the right air roll angle that he was looking for. There's just no boost. We can see Sizz is on a journey into deep enemy territory in the hunt for boost, and there's just none to be found everywhere he goes. Very frustrating to play against teams that prioritize boosts like this.
So as we come towards the end of this series, Rogue, be interested to see how they respond
Good read by
if
Turtle.
this remains as it is, because they've got a lot more games to play, and this could be a very deflating loss for them. Still, I believe only 2 goals scored, and that was in the last game. They've been kept completely clean throughout the entirety of game number 2. There's the attempting passive plays, but not able to find each other. Matt will continue to try and put that pressure on. They know they need a goal right now, otherwise they will probably be giving up the L. And considering that one is now gone and there is 45 seconds remaining, it is going to be that much more difficult for them.
So difficult for them to play on the ground against a team including both Pashy and Scrub. Players who have long been known for their 1v1 capability, and they try to take it to the air. Turns out Scrub, Niels, and Pashy are pretty good in that area as well. Rogue just getting completely shut down this game. They were not able to bring those counter-attacking passing plays that we've seen work for them in the past. They were not able to, get Hyphy on stage. The lack of the crowd, perhaps, and just the long day, the long days that they've been having. Certainly not the best Rogue that we've ever seen here, but this is not the end of the road for them. This is just a single loss where they'll be dropping to 2nd seed in this group. But a very, very good looking Defused. Much better than what we saw earlier, has to be said. More organized. They're spreading out a lot more. They know that Rogue were a more threatening team than what they faced before, and they've respected that, adapted their playstyle accordingly, and they do take it 4-0 in game 2. Pashy, the Aviator, threatened the hat trick, but he has to settle for 2 aerial goals. Scrubkilla looking really good on stage with the assist this time.
Yep, so a 7-2 series scoreline in terms of goals. Defusekids taking down the set-up Rogue squad, a team that has been playing really well. Yes, there is IRL issues that they have come in with, and that will have affected them immensely.
Turtle there.
But that is still a big win for Defusekids. Scrubkilla still 100% win-loss ratio at lands, and he will continue that onwards. However, we are going to be done over here. Wavepunk, over to you.
Thanks so much, Shogun. You heard Johnny say it. It's not the end of the road. I think you could have said it wasn't the end of the Rogue. Just it's that time of the night. It's been about, we've been on air for about 7.5 hours. The puns are gonna start flying thick and fast, but my goodness, Rogue. I think I want to blame. As a North American myself, I want to blame the IRL issues. I want to blame Scrubkilla. I want to say that, they'll get them tomorrow. But I don't know. Right now, Defused is looking very, very solid, and we'll see. We'll see a different Rogue tomorrow. But they're gonna have to go up against other teams, possibly much stronger teams. Right now, Defused looking like one of the top teams here, but there's still those teams like Method, those teams like Gale Force that everybody's afraid of. Yeah,
there's just something about this Defusekids roster that really meshes well. They talk about the shadowing, and we were talking about that earlier about why does Scrub follow so closely? It's simply because when that 50-50 is lost, the ability to just pick it right back up and bring that back in. And they do that really well. And then Niels Cook's just kind of been a floater. He's been a little bit of everywhere, a little bit of pass plays setting up, and that allows Passion to Scrub to just kind of go off. And it's been looking strong. They talked about at the casting desk how they wanted to see a little bit more spread out play style from these guys, and we got that. So really exciting plays so far from Defusekids.
Yeah, excited to see how they continue on here. We've gotten to interview Pashy already, and now we're going to get to interview Scrubkilla, which is the one I was wanting to interview the first time. No offense to Pashy, I love Pashy, but Scrubkilla, how are you feeling, man?
Feeling pretty good after that one.
Yeah, man, those two. The first series of the day wasn't as big of a challenge for you guys, but going up against one of the top teams from North America, able to beat them in 2 games pretty cleanly, man.
Yeah, it was a good feeling. We were so focused when we were playing. Like, I was in the zone, I was ready to win, so...
Yeah, it was cool. You scored the overtime goal in game number 1.
So that carried us through as well.
Yeah, saw Pashy give you the fist bump there and stuff. How are you feeling about this particular lineup you've got?
If we keep playing like that, I think we got a good chance. But there's a lot of good teams like Flipside, Gale Force, teams like that. So I I don't think they were playing at their best either. I think Turtle was a bit sick as well, so but it was still a good win for sure.
Yeah, it feels like that's kind of been the story of a lot of the teams today. That everybody's been feeling a little bit like you guys had the PC issues early on. Some teams have had other sort of jet lag issues going on. So tomorrow is going to be a different beast altogether. Which teams are you looking at the most right now and are fearing playing?
Probably Gale Force, just because they're also good. Flipside as well, those two. And obviously the team that we just played, Rogue. So I think those three are like the biggest competition that we have.
No, you didn't mention Method. Is there any particular reason, or just slipped the mind?
I forgot about them.
Okay, okay. Because I
There's
know
a lot of them.
there's a lot of people that have been bringing up. I know Mystic brought them up specifically.
I knew
too.
that. I knew I forgot like one or two teams. There might be another one, but they're quite good as well.
I've called all the teams the wrong names today, so we're all making those mistakes here. So is this your first time at DreamHack?
Yes.
And so you've been to Insomnia's. You got to go to the first
First one,
RLCS as
yep.
well. Did you come to the second one as well?
No, I only went to the first.
So what's been your favorite Rocket League event so far?
Probably ROCS, the first
Yeah.
one. Could just get to meet everyone for the first time.
Yeah.
It's Hollywood as well, so.
Yeah, there was something pretty magical about that first time of like putting faces to names with
Yeah.
people and stuff, especially because like we hadn't had any events like Insomnia in the States. So like for those, definitely the very first time, other than Kernovi, I think I had seen like any of the pros' faces.
Yeah,
you know?
I think my favorite moment for you when you were meeting people is when you met Quinn. It like blew your mind that was Quinn on the couch.
Oh,
It was
yeah, I
the
remember
funniest
that.
moment ever.
Yeah, and
So good.
I remember you going up to the caster booth and 1v1ing just anyone who would show up.
Yeah.
And just beating everybody.
Oh, I
That was-
remember that.
Yeah, you were quite the skilled player. How talk to me about the future of Rocket League as far as Scrub Killer is concerned. How much are you still loving this game? You've been here for since the beginning.
Yeah.
You've still got quite a long ways to go before you can play on the big stage of RLCS.
Yeah,
How are you
yeah.
feeling?
Well, I'm going to keep playing until ROCS to come. Because I'm having fun and playing the game. I'm doing quite well, so what's the point of stopping now?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I want to hear. I cannot wait to see you on the big stage, and hopefully you guys get to continue on here in this tournament, continue to win. Any shout-outs you
Hopefully.
got for anybody?
For everyone supporting me, I guess. I mean, thanks for supporting me.
Yeah.
To everyone watching my Twitch stream.
Yeah.
You know, just keeping up with me.
How have you been enjoying the streaming?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Now that he can, right? Feels pretty good.
Getting
Yeah.
paid to play video games doesn't get better than that, right?
I know.
That's pretty great stuff. Well, that is Scrub Killer, ladies and gentlemen. We will probably hear from him again later on in the tournament. Coming up, we've got Method versus Penta. Two of the teams sort of that we've been talking about all day. Should be a pretty even match, and hopefully we'll get another Game 3. I'd be excited to see it. You will be too. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.